Hello, I'm so glad you're here. So this presentation, the Find Love Again presentation, this masterclass, is taking all 3 of the days I did on Facebook and putting it into one presentation here. And I invite you to put away any distractions. Do not multitask to the best of your ability. This is an opportunity for you to dive deeply with me and to have a big experience. So whether you're here live or whether you're watching the replay, this is an opportunity for you to have a big transformation, a big shift inside of yourself so that you can invite next level love in. So before I dive deeply into this, I just want to pull up my notes and be ready. I just wanted to get started here with the recording and to make sure we're all ready to go. So, so before we get into the content, I just want to acknowledge you for taking this time to do this work. I mean, this says a lot because there's a million things I know that are on your to-do list. And the fact that you have said yes to this is a testament to your desire to have something different in your life, especially in the love arena. And I invite you to really play full out because this is precious time in your life. And the more you show up for this, the more you'll get out of it. And I'm sure you're going to have some big ahas. The women last week that did this event really had some big shifts and big awarenesses that they had not had before. And that changes your life. So I invite you to be here fully. I want to just go over some logistics. We're going to go for about 90 minutes. And so have some paper, have your handouts. I sent you an email with the handouts to download because I'll be referring to them and you'll be writing on them. And have that present. Maybe grab a glass of water and then be here fully, all right? Do the exercises. Really participate because if you just do it in your head, it's just not the same. I mean, that keeps us in our head. And this type of work is all about using your brain, using your thoughts, but then getting past it so we can get to the unconscious because the unconscious is where all the wiring is, where all the old programming is. And that's what's tripping you up. That's what has you in your fear, your doubts, your shame, your I can't do it or it'll never happen to me or whatever your voices are that are in your head. So this is an opportunity for you to show up, be active, and have a transformation. And when you're able to do that, you can expand what I call expand your comfort zone, not just step out of it, but actually add more to it so that it can be more relaxing and you can invite in next level love however you want to. So play full out, have some fun, and we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens for you. I will tell you that in the past when I've done these workshops, I've seen people have some major shifts, some major transformation. And I'll tell you one of the things I see with those people. The people that have the big ahas are the people that listen to every freaking thing I say and really do the work, really show up. And that's here for you. So I'm inviting you to play full out and to just do this one thing. I'm sure you're a wonderful multitasker, but I'm going to invite you to really give yourself this gift of this time. And if you don't know me, I'm Junie Moon, and I've been called the inner critic tamer and love mentor. And recently I've been called the starting over queen. And my deep desire is to help you have a breakthrough in love, to experience what I call next level love. And this isn't just love with another person, which of course is awesome when we're connecting with someone and loving somebody. This is also about accessing love, being more gentle with yourself, to love yourself. This is about accepting yourself, to know you're worthy of love, so that when you feel in connection with yourself and you know how valuable you are and you're loving to yourself, guess what? When your inner world shifts, the outer world shifts. And if you're looking for more love, Start with you and the rest follows. I see it all the time. So I will let you know, I know what it's like to not have that juicy next level love, to feel alone, to feel unlovable, to feel unseen. And it doesn't feel good. And sometimes it could feel like there's no hope, it'll never happen, that it's not in the cards for you for love. And I've been there and I get that. I also know what it feels like to be able to relax inside, to be comfortable in my own skin, and to be able to access next level love. And I'll tell you, it's totally an inside job. It really doesn't matter what's happening outside in that world, who's there. When you feel good about yourself, when you can feel confident and strong inside and loving and gentle with yourself, the outside world shifts. It just does. So I want to hold your hands and take you on this journey I call the Yellow Brick Road to the Queendom of Oz, for you to know love beyond your wildest dreams, because it's there for you, and there's a way to get there, and I want to support you in that. So a quick story. I made a big decision 9 years ago. I left my husband after being with him for 20 years, and I was really scared. I didn't have an income. I had no idea how much things cost. I had a very challenging teen, and I also didn't know if love was going to happen for me again, if I was going to end up alone. So it was a big deal, that shift for me. And I left my husband because he was a tough cookie. He had what I call bully energy. He would get in my face. He'd scare me. I walked on eggshells. I squashed my voice. I squashed my essence to a large extent in the way, in wanting to keep the peace and wanting to not have conflict. And because I did that, because I put the walls around my heart, I also felt really alone, and I was miserable. I sometimes think there's nothing more lonely than being in a relationship when there's no connection. So not only that, not only was I having challenging times with him and his energy and our lack of communication, things were really, really terrible actually with him and my son. And so I was really scared for all of us. It was really volatile in our house. And I had been doing a ton of personal growth work the previous years, the transformational work that I offer to my clients now. And I began to see how dysfunctional our relationship was, our family was. I also was starting to see through the years what healthy relationship, healthy communication looked like. And I realized this was something I really wanted. And I wanted a healthy relationship. I wanted that good communication. And I wanted a safe place, a safe haven where I could be seen for me and not work so hard, not abandon who I am, but a partner who could allow me to be me and I could be accepted just as I am so that I can relax. A partner that I could have fun with and have juicy intimacy with. So I was beginning to feel stronger and clearer, and I was able to take a stand for my heart and my son. And I was willing to stand in the fire and take a risk because not taking a step was too costly. So one day, when the proverbial shit hit the fan and I found myself begging my husband for us to get help, he just said absolutely not. And he just, like cowered. I don't think that's the word, but he like towered over me. And he just was in my face. And he was like, "You're the one with the problem. You're the one that needs help. Keep me out of it." And it broke my heart because I really, in that moment, saw that there was no way that he was going to go for the ride with me. He was just too adamant that it was my problem and there was no place to meet each other. And it was really sad. And he said it was me that had the problem. And frankly, I was the one that had the problem. I was in the unhealthy marriage. I wanted something else. And here we were living in this beautiful mansion on a lake that most people would die for. And yet inside the house, my heart was empty and I was feeling alone. So I took the risk and I left. Now, this may not be your story, but But as you listen to my story and taking a chance, I'm going to invite you to just kind of think about your own life, about taking a chance, and how you feel about your relationships and how you feel about your relationship to yourself. So at this point with this, it's your problem, and I realized it was, I knew at this point I was worthy of love, and I wouldn't accept anything less than a healthy partnership. But that meant leaving, and it was a big deal. It was a hard decision. And it also meant I was on a new path, a path to find deeper, richer love, which I have experienced over and over, frankly. I've had a few significantly amazing off the charts relationships, and it's been amazing. I have tasted the nectar of next level love, and it's phenomenal. It hasn't always been an easy ride. I'm still looking for my precious one because my standards are different now. My self-love is different now. And I know what's possible. So I've done the inner work, some of which I'm going to share with you. And this is the beginning for you to discover what's possible. I didn't know what was in store for me in the love arena. But doing this journey and taking this step, I did discover next level love. And now I help others experience it too. I teach this transformative journey, this transformative work to my individual clients and in my coaching programs and in workshops just like this. And I get to see people flourish and have deeper love for themselves, which is really like where it's at. And then, of course, the ability to get back out there and have that gold in a relationship, the gold that they desire. Whether they're in the relationship and it gets better and more and healthier, or they actually welcome in somebody new and it's a different relationship than they've experienced in the past. And I so love seeing my women fly. It's the most amazing experience, from seeing people that thought it was hopeless to being able to have a rich life. So I want to help you call in next level love. I encourage you to really connect with what your needs are, because when you have the courage to ask for what you want, things change. But you have to know what you want first. And so I'll help you get that courage. A lot of what we're going to do today is about looking at risks and courage, so that you don't have to feel that debilitating fear that keeps you stuck or keeps your heart locked down, or worse, thinking that something's wrong with you and it'll never happen for you. So I want you to be able to break through that. And that's what we're going to do in this workshop. And I'm going to invite you to stay to the end, because at the end of our time, because we're going to do some foundational things in the beginning, I'm going to offer you a powerful transformation exercise that will give you a major shift. And this is important. This is like a big deal. So definitely stay to the end. And I also want to let you know that at the end of our time, I'll let you know about next steps you can take with me, because I want you to know there's more support. I'm so highly committed to giving you the support you need. So I'm not just going to give you loads of content and information here and leave you hanging at the end of our time. I want to bring you to the Queendom of Oz. I want to get you to that place. So at the end, I'll invite you into my tribe, into this place where there's more for you, and I'll let you know more about it at the end. Also, at the end, I'll give you a special gift for staying the course and being with me this whole time, because at the end of the day, that says a lot to me, this deep commitment of follow through and saying yes to love, because there's nothing more precious in life than love. So at the end, I'll also give you a special gift. So I'm just going to minimize my screen for a second and just get back on track here. Okay, so let's dive in. We have about 90 minutes to give you a big breakthrough and reopen your heart to allow more love in. So what are we going to do? We're going to explore the concept of risk, why we sometimes block ourselves from deep connection and more love in our life. And we're going to talk about how you can open up your heart to some more love, to some more yummy love, without it being so scary. There are 3 steps necessary that we're going to look at. We're going to look at the importance of being aware of your current attitude toward relationships and risk-taking, and how this attitude impacts your capacity to open that precious heart of yours. We're also going to look at why you avoid risks and give you some more compassion for the choices you've made around those risks so that you could be more open to new, healthier chances in your life. And we're going to reframe your perspective about risk-taking, regardless of the outcome. Because when we shift our perception, life changes. And you can have way more access to juicy love, which is what I'm assuming you want. So you've taken risks with your hearts, and you've had some very unpleasant experiences, right? I know we have. You have, I have. We've had moments where it's like heart taken out, squashed. And these experiences have had an impact on you. And because of that, you may not want to step out of your comfort zone. And that's why we're going to look at what we can do about it. Because if you are still blocking yourself because of the past experiences, you're going to be very limited with what's possible. So we want to look at that. So I want to start with asking you a question. Have you ever held back from love or loving? Have you ever held back from connecting to another person or allowing your heart to open with another person because it just felt too scary, too vulnerable? Just think about that for a moment. I mean, we've all done that at one time or another, where we just felt like, I'm not so sure about this, or this feels really vulnerable. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and just go in for a moment. And I'm going to still stay here on the computer, so you can keep looking at me, and I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and take a moment to breathe and to connect with your heart. So where are you with your heart? What's your heart calling for? Ask yourself these questions as you close your eyes. What are you wanting that you don't have now? Are you feeling love and loved? Are you feeling shut down or stuck in some way? Without judgment, be honest and look at where you are and where you are hoping to go. And notice how big of a gap it is from where you are and what you're wanting. Because this is the beginning place. This is your starting point to see what you're calling in from a place of where you are now. And it's perfect wherever you are. So just breathe into that and allow yourself to be wherever you are. And just notice your heart, your desire, and what is true for you in this moment. Now, when you're ready, I'm going to invite you to open your eyes. Okay, so let's talk about taking a chance. Taking a chance usually means that we have something to lose. Chance, right? And many of us shy away from losing, especially if we feel like there's danger in getting our hearts hurt. And no one wants to risk that. I get it. Still, taking chances, it's part of life. It's an integral part of life. And if we want our lives to change for the better and call in more love and have more love, we have to become more aware of what we're willing to do and what we're not willing to do. What is risky, truly risky? And we need to be honest with what has happened and why we're here where we are, why you're here in this moment in time. You need to be honest the best you can with what you want and where you're headed. What is it that's truly calling you? So we're going to do the first exercise together. And this is about getting clear about taking a chance. What does it look like? And what makes it such a risky proposition? So I'm going to invite you to take a moment again, close your eyes, and look back on your life and think of a time when you took a chance. And it could be a big chance or a small chance, just something you took a chance on. Maybe it was putting yourself back online dating, or saying yes to a first date. or telling your partner what your needs are. Something that was a little risky, a chance in something that kind of, had you stretch a little bit. And just take a moment to think about a time that you took a chance on something. So hopefully you have at least one thing that you took a chance on. And at any point during this time, if you need to stop the video to take more time, please do, because you can do that. So just anything you've taken a chance on. Now, I'd like you to identify a time in your life when you made a choice and it didn't go well. You look back and you say, boy, I made a big mistake. And again, it can be anything big or small that's happened. And a mistake can be regarded as anything you wish didn't happen or you wish you could go back and do differently, okay? So think about a time when you did something and it felt like you made a mistake or you have a regret about it. And now what I want you to do is take a blank piece of paper and draw a line down the center so you have two halves. And you're going to label the columns. The first column, I'll show you this. I think you can see this. The first column says taking a chance, and the second column is making a mistake. So it looks like this. So with your experience of taking a chance and making a mistake in your mind, because you just thought about that, I want you to take a moment, and again, you could pause the recording and write down in each column what it means to you. What does taking a chance mean to you? What does making a mistake personally mean to you? All right? Taking a chance, thinking about what taking a chance, what you did with taking a chance, what does it mean to you? And just write down a whole bunch of things, whatever comes to mind. And what does making a mistake mean to you? And write down a bunch of things. Some of the likely themes for taking a chance usually include venturing into the unknown. That's taking a chance. Risk-taking. These are the different things that people view taking a chance as. Being courageous, having a sense of adventure, being bold. These are just some of the things that people have said in the past. So what's it for you? Being willing to gamble. And then the making a mistake can include things like, it had a bad outcome, I wish I didn't do that, or feel like a failure, taking a false step, or miscalculating. The meaning of making a mistake. Being at fault. And so now I want you to take a moment and look at the two columns and what link do you see between the two phrases, taking a chance and making a mistake? Just look at the two and what comes up for you between the two. And just think about that. Most of you are going to be watching the replay, so you're not going to have a lot of feedback here from the people that are here live. To be really honest with you, no one's here live, just me, and that's fine. So what's the link between taking a chance? Sometimes people see taking a chance and making a mistake is when you take a chance and you risk something, it may not work out. That's a direct connection. Or if you don't take a chance, then you don't risk making a mistake. So I guess the next thing to think about is, where do you think most people focus their time and energy? On taking a chance or avoiding a mistake? Where do you focus your energy and time? Do you find yourself willing to push the boundaries and take lots of chances, and you're not so concerned and focused on, ooh, this may not work out? Or are you more conservative and in your fear and risk avoidance, and so you don't take a lot of chances. Oh, somebody's here. Somebody just popped in, and that was a loud pop. So I don't know who's here. Yvonne. Hi, Yvonne. We're deep into the webinar, and you are welcome to continue to be here. And I'm just going to keep going because we're looking at taking a chance and risking having a mistake. What does that mean? And just to recap, just for her because she just came on, is we're looking at where are you when it comes to focusing your energy and time. Do you focus your energy on pushing the boundaries and taking risks without being concerned of things not working out? Or is your focus more on, I better be careful so I won't take chances because I'm more concerned about things happening? So, so just notice where you are with that. And we just created a list. And actually, Yvonne, I'm going to invite you to just, go back after this and watch the replay because it was a whole bunch leading into this. But you'll still get a ton out of this if you stay. And so the next thing is, to look at how does your concern about making mistakes impact your willingness to take chances? What might happen? There's that part of you that's constantly like assessing what might happen if, and we're going to talk a lot about that soon in this presentation, because there's a part that's always assessing the risks. So how does your concern about making mistakes impact your willingness to take chances? So think about that. Part of mending your heart is taking the shame off of the choices you've made that has hurt you. And the powerful exercise at the end of our time that we'll do in a little bit will do just that. Take some of the edge off, some of the shame off, so that you can have more compassion for yourself, for the choices you've made. And it'll also give you a tool to help you expand that comfort zone of yours so that you can take some new steps toward a healthier, more loving place with yourself and others. One of the things I like to share with you is a quote. I'm not sure where it's from, but it's a great quote. It says, "The biggest risk in life is not the possibility of making a mistake. It's never trying in the first place." The biggest risk in life is not the possibility of making a mistake. The biggest risk is never trying in the first place. That's pretty risky if you don't try, you don't stretch, because there's some pretty high, it's a pretty high price if you don't. We're constantly taking chances in life, whether we realize it or not. I mean, as soon as you get on a plane, you're taking a chance. As soon as you cross the street, you're taking a chance. Still, no matter what the situation is, if you don't open up, you can't receive next level love. If you don't try, you don't connect more with other people, you will not experience what I call as next level love. And most of the time, there's only a very little potential of a mistake or a penalty. The part of us that's so scared makes it so scary. And yet, we don't have to go jumping off a cliff. We can do little steps. And that's what we have to create inside you, is to realize it's not so black and white, that there's a journey. Now, I know with our hearts, it can seem a lot more risky because we've experienced pain. And yet, if you don't venture out, you will miss out. You will miss out on connection and joy. All right, so let's keep going. So taking a chance to do something new or different can take effort. And it takes courage, especially if you're uncertain of the results. Excuse me, I'll just take a sip of water. And if you had experiences in the past that have burnt you, then you're going to be even that much more concerned about what might happen. So we're going to use our time together in this class to see what's required in taking more chances to welcome love in, and in a way that's safer. And we can do this by first becoming aware of your perspective on taking chances, and then recognize the reward you can receive from the risks you take. And we're going to look at what can help you and what could stop you or hamper your effort when taking a risk. And I call this the courage, risk, rewards approach to taking chances. So we're going to start off by looking at the courage part. Sometimes we think that doing nothing is being neutral, but it isn't. Doing nothing can be actually very negative. And the comfort zone you live in can be very seductive because it's a comfort zone and it feels very safe. No one wants to have things happen that scares them or where they feel they're unsafe. And so stepping out of a comfort zone can be really a risky proposition. And yet if we don't, we're limiting ourselves. We're limiting our relationships. We're limiting our intimacy. So one of the things I always tell my clients is I don't actually think stepping out of your comfort zone is the answer. Outside of it sounds pretty friggin' scary. We don't know what's out there. We don't know what's going to happen. We've had these experiences that have us go, this could really suck. So why would we want to do that? And yet we have to. So what I say is instead of stepping outside of your comfort zone, we need to stretch it. We need to add new tools. We need to help you know that you're going to be okay and to feel deserving and loved and all that. And the more that inner landscape inside of you feels more comfortable and that you know you're going to be okay, it stretches and you could try new things. Does that make sense? So, Yvonne, I don't want to put any pressure on you whatsoever. I do want to give you an opportunity to chime in at any time if you have a question, because you are the only person here and I'm excited to have you here. And I did say there'd be interaction and I want you to know that is here for you. So if you wanted to ask a question or share at any point, I'm going to invite you to unmute yourself and you could just say, Junie, I have a question. But I'm not going to put you on the spot and go share with us, Yvonne, because that wouldn't be very kind. That would be throwing you in outside the comfort zone, and that wouldn't be nice. So if you need something, you let me know, okay? I just want to just change something here. Okay, great. So let's get back. So Yvonne, if you want to connect in any way, just unmute yourself and you could share if there's any questions, okay, or comments. So in the 1960s, there was a writer, Ambrose Redmoon, and this person said, courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important than fear. I'm going to repeat that. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that there's something more important than fear. And so we're not talking about getting rid of your fear, but we're learning how to be with fear because something is calling you, whether it's deeper intimacy with the loved one you have, or you want to invite new love in, or you just want to feel better about yourself. The courage to grab that, even if it's uncomfortable. So let's see. So what's important to you to experience when it comes to love? Just think about that. What is it that you're really wanting in love? Is it deeper intimacy where you could feel safe and seen? Is it more connection to another so it feels more authentic and fulfilling? More self-love, maybe that's what you're wanting, that has you relaxing inside and trusting yourself more. Many people avoid taking risks or chances in love because they're afraid. But being trapped by fear and refusing to take a chance will probably keep you in one place and not experiencing the next level love that I'm talking about. And then you feel stuck and it feels like shit when you're not moving forward and fear's got a grip on you and you're just feeling like you're held back. So at this point, I'm going to invite you to pull out worksheet number 1, which says, what am I willing to do? Actually, I'm not sure if that came through. Actually, it didn't. So pull out a blank piece of paper and pull out worksheet number 2 that says, that's just crazy. I'm not sure why the email wouldn't upload this first worksheet, but it's really easy, okay? So what I want you to do on the first worksheet is to create like a grid of 4 boxes, okay? The first box, I want you to write, not a problem for me to do. Not a problem for me to do. The second box, I have done this, but found it scary. The third box, I'd be willing to try this. And the fourth box, I would never do this. And then I want you to look at the worksheet number 2 that says, that's just crazy. It looks like this. And there's a whole ton of things. And I'll just read them out in case you guys don't have it. And as I read these out, I want you to place them. And you don't have to do a lot of thinking about this. You know, just go with your gut. There's no wrong answer. I want you to place these in the boxes. So go bungee jumping. So would you go bungee jumping? Not a problem for me to do. I've done this, but found it scary. I'd be willing to try this. I would never do this. For me, I would never do bungee jumping. Not happening. Go on a blind date. Not a problem for me to do. How about you? Have a heart-to-heart with your partner about your sex life. So I'm going to read some of these out in case you don't have it, and I want you to place them in the boxes. And again, if you need to stop the recording, for those that are watching the replay, stop and look at these worksheets and do them. Or go back to the email and download it. So go for counseling to sort out personal difficulties. Where would that be? Hug a complete stranger who's in distress. Cry in public. Enroll in a college class. Live on an island for a month. I'd do that. Take a vow of silence for a day. I did a vow of silence for 10 days, believe it or not. For those of you that know me, if I can do it, you can do it. Throw a huge snowball at someone. Totally. Get your fortune told. Dance in the pouring rain. Play an elaborate practical joke on someone. Learn to dance, hip hop, salsa, jazz. Speak to an audience of 1,000 people. I haven't spoken to an audience of 1,000 people, but I would do it. Eat something that's alive, like an insect. That's happened to me by accident. Mosquito, I think. In an elevator, laugh hysterically for 5 seconds in front of strangers. Go to a strip club. Fast for at least 2 days. Take a ride in a hot air balloon. Spend a week at a meditation retreat. Live in a foreign country for at least 3 months. Swim in the nude in the public place. Jump off a high cliff into the ocean. Totally not happening for me. So notice, and you may not have gotten through all of them, and Yvonne, you're live, so you may not get to all of them. But I want you to just take a moment and look at how courageous you would be to do these various activities that require different degrees of risk. Just notice, assess your attitude toward risk. And assess how courageous you are or how maybe risk averse you are. All right? And just notice, this is just information. A couple of the women on the class last week were really surprised at how courageous they were, how they were willing to do almost everything. And then there were some that also mentioned that it was like, wow, I really do hold myself back. There's a lot of things that I have a lot of fear about. And that's all good. It's good to know where you're at. All right? So that's just something for you to do. So to notice what surprised you. Is there something that you were really surprised of? Wow, I'm really surprised I wouldn't do that. And just to notice where your personal boundaries were pushed. And just notice what your attitude is toward risk after doing this, all right? Taking chances often has a negative connotation to it because it implies danger, loss. But taking chances also has a positive side because often the reward is greater than the risk. And most of us are pretty good at not taking dumb risks. We're not going to do something really stupid. But many times we also miss smart risks that come our way because of the past wiring. So on the one hand, that's awesome self-care. That's awesome watching out for yourself. We need to be mindful. We need to make sure we don't do the same old thing and get hurt again, especially in relationships. Have you ever dated somebody that you think was different only to find out they're exactly the same person that you dated before? I did that. over and over again until I did the transformational work. Because once I shifted inside, the people that were coming to me were different. But it took some time. So if you have new tools and you have better trust in yourself and you have healthier boundaries, you're more supported and you won't fall into the same hole that you had your heart broken in the first place. And you can support yourself while you're taking a risk. And if you could support yourself, you can take risks and you can experience new things like next level love. So I'm just gonna, again, Yvonne, if there's, do you have a share or any questions right now? I'm just gonna give you the opportunity to unmute yourself if there's anything you wanted to ask or share. Okay, so we're gonna take a closer look now at the idea of risk, which is the second element of the courage risk rewards. And I want to introduce you to a very important part called the risk manager. And this is a part of you, the part of you that is the radar for danger and is the keeper of your heart. Because you've had experiences in life that have hurt you, the risk manager tends to overshoot and be like the hovering helicopter mom and can put the kibosh on you moving forward because this part wants to protect you. And you need to know this part. You need to know it really well so that you can get it to work for you, not against you. You need to understand what this risk manager is about and have that risk manager see where you are, what you're wanting, and the cost if it keeps holding you back. So Mario Andretti, the famous car driver, said, if things seem under control, you're not going fast enough. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean pedal to the metal and disregard danger. It does mean you might be overly cautious and driving at a snail's pace, which can feel safer than driving like a bat out of hell. But it also limits your chances in finding fulfillment in your life. So before we can stretch your comfort zone, you need to be willing to take some chances. And to be able to take chances, we need to first look at why you avoid risk. So why is your risk manager working so hard? Let me just talk a little bit about your risk manager. This part of you, its job is to keep you from pain. And so it keeps pulling you back if it senses danger. And with love, if you've had your heart squashed, that might feel really risky for you to take steps toward love. And again, if you stay stuck, there's a high price, right? You feel alone, you don't feel connected, you don't have the intimacy, and you're walking on eggshells, or one of those, or many other things. So your risk manager will drum up strategies to keep your heart locked up so that you don't get too vulnerable and risk pain. And so it's a great part to have. It's the radar for danger. However, we need to bring it up to speed because it's working overtime. That's exhausting. It's having you question yourself, your ability to find love. A lot of risk managers need to see that things have changed, that you're not as vulnerable as you used to be, that you have support, and that the price that you're paying is causing, there's a lot of pain because of you being held back, and that fear is keeping you from growing. Some of the strategies the risk manager uses is criticism, which leads you to doubting yourself, having you question whether you're good enough. And being over 50, a lot of the things that I hear from my clients is, who's going to love me in this older body? Or, you don't have what it takes. Look at your history. You've never had a good relationship. I mean, the risk manager is going to hit you hard in your vulnerability to keep you from taking chances. And it'll hit your self-esteem. And when you have low self-esteem, your heart's going to be on lockdown. It just makes sense. So the inner critic is a tool used by the risk manager. And it has you stay put so that you don't open up your heart again. And what we want to do is lower the volume of your inner critic so that you can open up your heart more mindfully. So do you have an inner critic? Think about it. What does your inner critic say to you? How does it work? So what is the risk manager actually doing? and why. So I'm going to invite you to pull out number 3. Number 3 is the worksheet that says why we avoid risk, number 3. And I want you to just take a couple of minutes to brainstorm about all the different reasons why you think people avoid risk-taking in their lives. Why do people avoid risk? What do you think happens? So if you're watching the replay, you can pause it and brainstorm. Yvonne, just take a moment and think about, why do you think people avoid risk? So a lot of the responses I hear often is fear of failure or fear of success, fear of the unknown, fear of change, letting people down. That's a biggie. The fear that you're going to disappoint somebody. Another one is the fear of rejection. If I take this risk, I might be rejected. Or the need for approval of others. There's so many. The need to be in control, the need for certainty, the need for security. I mean, there's lots of different things. So now go to the bottom of the page. And Ivana, I hope I'm not going too fast for you. Go to the bottom of the page, and it says the 5 main reasons why people avoid risk. And I'm going to have you fill this in. So the first main reason why people avoid risk is failure. I might not get what I'm aiming for, and that's going to feel horrible. The second one is exposure. If it doesn't work out, it might reflect negatively on you. People will see that it didn't work out. I will be seen as a failure. The third one is embarrassment. If I push for something and it doesn't work out, I could be judged by others. Rejection is the fourth one. If the risk fails, I could be rejected by someone. And maybe you ask somebody out and they say no thanks. That can hurt. That's risky. And the fifth one is loss. If I try something new or different, I might have to give up what's familiar. And what's interesting is this what happens a lot to my clients. I've seen this a lot. And it's very surprising to them. It's not as much about losing the relationship, but losing themselves or something that matters to them. So let me tell you a story about a client of mine. Let's call her Jane for this presentation. And Jane, she really wanted a relationship. It had been years since she dated, but she really, really wanted a partner. She had lots of excuses and lots of sabotaging behaviors, like overeating right before the date, which had her feel unattractive, or her schedule would get busy and she would cancel dates or just not even be available for dates. And this was important to her. And so we explored what was up. Like, she realized she wanted to meet Mr. Right, but she had some concerns. And she realized if she met him, he might want to move in with her. His life might be different than hers, and it might infringe on her space and how she liked things. And she was scared that it would change her life dramatically, and not all in good ways. I mean, here she was wanting it, but she was afraid that she'd lose her freedom. And so we explored what might happen, because again, risks might happen, they may not. What was really risky about it, we needed to see. And so sometimes the risks are really important to look at because it's really risky. And sometimes the risks are from the past fears, and they're not necessarily valid in the present. So she needed to see what was truly risky and dangerous now, and what could she do about it if she really wanted a relationship, and what was really not a concern, and then how to take healthy steps so that she could open to love and to be able to keep her freedom and not sacrifice the life that she had, what was important to her. Because it doesn't have to be so black and white. And that's what happens a lot with the risk manager. It sees things in black and white, and it sends roadblocks. And then you stop yourself And if it senses you're going to be too vulnerable, or you might lose something like your freedom, like something that matters to you, like what happened with Jane, it's going to do whatever it can. Sabotaging behaviors, overeating, busyness. But once she realized what was really happening and brought them, in front of her into the light, she was able to proactively troubleshoot and move forward. She was able to date more consciously and be aware of her needs, and to be able to make sure she didn't abandon what was important to her. And she was able to take some big steps. And she was able to do this with much more ease, without fear, like that big fear. That was exhausting to her. And so she was able to start meeting people and dating again. So what's your reaction to the reasons people avoid risk? To ask yourself that. What would you say would be the toughest to manage? Disappointing people, being abandoned, being embarrassed, people rejecting you. Just take a moment and just think about, what is your biggest concern when it comes to risk? Just take a peek at what's coming up next in my notes here. One of the things that separate the people who don't achieve their dreams from the people who look back on their life, actually, let me restate that. The number one thing that separates the people who do achieve their dreams from the people who look back on their life saying, I wish, if only, the regrets, that the people who accomplish their goals are willing to take action even if they're scared. But we need to listen to our fears. We need to know what's scary. And then with right support and tools, you can move forward. It doesn't have to be this hard push. A lot of times people are pushing themselves so hard, and it is exhausting and it is scary. They're pushing against their fear. And it can be wonderful pulling yourself toward your dream instead of pushing yourself toward your dream. But you have to update your risk manager. And in a little bit, we're going to do a big process around your risk manager so that that risk manager can work with you more easily, and you can take risks that are not so scary. The risk isn't so great. But we have to update your risk manager, and we're going to do a big process in a few minutes. It's easy to play safe. It's easy to play safe. It's easy to stay in your comfort zone. Well, not necessarily. Because even if, as I'm saying, it's easy to play safe, it can be really painful playing safe. It can hurt playing safe. This is when people are lonely and sad and isolated and all the different things, when we stay inside our comfort zone. And it feels safe, and I get it. Staying inside your comfort zone doesn't get you far, and it's not going to allow you to have that juicy heart of yours expand. Nothing really happens until you go after what you believe in. So we need to look at your beliefs. Now, if taking chances is important to move forward in your life, then what can you do to support yourself in doing so? So support is important. So let's dive into the rewards part of the courage, risk, rewards approach that I talked about in the beginning. And then we'll do that powerful transformational exercise that will help you shift your risk manager and invite more love in a way that is more supporting to you, okay? Not so scary. So rewards, what do you gain from taking chances? There are too many people in the world whose fear keeps their hearts in lockdown. And where taking chances is just not an option. And they can't see beyond their fear to realize that there are rewards just waiting for them. While you may lose when taking chances, things might happen. Remember that there are two sides to every coin, and you also might win. Something really great might happen. If you are consistently taking chances, if you're consistently moving forward, things will change for you. Like dating. It's sort of a numbers game, right? The more you play in the sandbox, the more opportunity to make new friends. I was working with someone recently, and she was like, I'm just not meeting the right guy. I'm just not meeting the right guy. And we talked about it and we looked at it, and she had a lot of sabotaging behaviors and a lot of things that were keeping her from dating. And when we looked at it, she had 2 dates in the last 6 months. The numbers game. So that risk manager was really doing a number on her. And here she's thinking she's not meeting Mr. Right, and she wasn't putting herself out there. So we need to look at these things. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times when creating the light bulb before he finally succeeded. Hopefully you don't have to go on 1,000 dates. Now, I know that our hearts are different and our love life is not creating an invention like a light bulb. But you really only need one great date, one big breakthrough, and one great powerful conversation with a beloved to make things shift. So be open to the possibility that something can change for you. And again, I know that it can feel scary with your heart. What I do know is if you don't keep moving forward and growing, you feel stagnant. And that hurts. And it feels lonely. And that's when you have the self-sabotage and the self-hatred. And you feel like it's just not going to happen for you. And you could feel numb, or you're doing things that numb you out. So let's pull out the handout now, the rewards of risk-taking. Let's see, where's that? Okay. The rewards of risk-taking has a little pretty picture on it. Okay. So what have you been wanting to take a chance on? What are you craving? Think about that. Think of a love story you've not pursued because of what you'll lose if it doesn't work out. So that's number 1. So what have you been wanting that you haven't pursued because you're afraid? Just think about that. Again, I'm going to just pause the recording to think about what have you been wanting to take a chance on? What are you craving? And what's the love story that you haven't pursued because you're afraid it won't work out? And in the first column, list what you think you'll lose if you open your heart and take this chance and it doesn't work out. And write down every possible negative outcome you can imagine. What do I stand to lose if I open up my heart and it doesn't work out? And just jot down a few things. Give you a few minutes, not a few minutes, but a little time here, Yvonne, to do that. Ah, Cheryl, I didn't see you come in, Cheryl. Hello, Cheryl. So what do I stand to lose if I open my heart, if I really go for that love story? And then in the second column, what do I stand to gain? What might I get if I open up my heart and I invite in new love? And for Cheryl, I just want to remind you that there'll be a replay of this, and to definitely go back to the beginning, because there was a lot of content in the beginning to build to this point. You're welcome to stay, and there's still a ton that you could do. And I don't want you to miss out on the other part. Okay? So next, take each of the items you have just identified as possible loss, and in the second, what might happen to you. And I want you to look over the costs and the rewards that you've identified. And in which direction does the scale tip? If the possible losses still outweigh the possible rewards, your risk manager is working very hard to protect you, right? And your dreamer self is being blocked. But don't worry, there's hope. So if there's lots of risks, your risk manager is going to be blocking you. But if it sees a lot of reward, and you can see that, things can be different for you. So consider right now the consequences of not taking this chance on yourself and your dream. What do you stand to lose? And what are you willing to live with? What happens if you don't go for this? And just take a moment and think about that. What's interesting is when you do this exercise, what I've seen with people is They can see opportunities that maybe they wouldn't normally see. They might be just focusing on what might happen that's scary and risky. But what might happen if you turn it around? So if I open up my heart, someone might leave me. But if I open up my heart and they leave me, then I might have learned something from that person and bring in a new love in a new way. So there's the opportunities that show up too. By looking at these two columns and kind of pulling it apart, the risk manager gets to relax a little bit. It doesn't have to think everything is just, the stakes are so high. It can actually calm down a little bit once it sees there's different opportunities and it's not so scary. So Cheryl, if you have any questions, or Yvonne, if you have any questions, this might be a good time to unmute yourself, because we're going to go into the big transformation exercise in a moment. Any questions, any shares, anything you want to ask right now? No pressure, Cheryl, no pressure, Yvonne. Just want to give you the opportunity to engage with me if you'd like. There's only a couple of you live, so I don't want to put any pressure on you. That could feel risky. Of course, that might be the very thing here, right? Like, risky to be seen, risky to ask questions, but what's the opportunity to ask a question? What's the opportunity to share? Again, I'm just kind of using that as an example, because even though we're focusing on our love life here, this is for everything, guys. Everything you do in life, assessing the risk. What might happen, what might not happen. If I go for a new job, or if I decide to have a conversation with my best friend because something happened that upset me, what's the risk to talk with my best friend? What's the risk if I don't? To pull that apart. Because if you don't have that like conscious conversation with yourself and you don't really see both sides, you're just going to be at the mercy of your risk manager, your unconscious programming that's going to want to keep you safe. If you start to notice, well, if I don't have this conversation with my best friend, or if I don't go for that job, then I won't be able to pay my bills. I don't get the opportunity to work in this new job that makes me happy, or I don't get to be closer with my friends. So this isn't just about love. This is about everything. We're focusing on love, self-love, health, being with a new person, or having a deeper love with the person in your life. But this is about everything, okay? So in a moment, we are going to do that powerful tool that I was telling you about, where we will upgrade your risk manager and get the risk manager to see differently. But before we do that, I want to kind of talk to you about something. I mentioned earlier that I have a deep commitment to supporting you. And because you're here, because you're showing up and looking for more love and willing to ask, what can I do to get it? I know you're serious about change and opening up, opening your hearts. And I know it could feel really scary. I've been there. And we've talked about the risk manager working overtime and seeing things black and white and keeping you stuck in some way and having behaviors that lock you down. And there are different parts inside of you that can support you and ground you and help you make wiser decisions. And these other parts can help you with your confidence and help you maintain healthy boundaries. And when in place, when you have these other parts showing up inside of you, your risks don't feel as risky and your opportunities are much greater. So here's the deal. I didn't have a clue what a healthy relationship was until my mid-40s. You don't know what you don't know until you do. And that's what happened. Just like the client I was sharing about before. Jane had no idea why she was sabotaging her love life. And she didn't know it until she really looked at the behaviors that were stopping her. And then doing the transformational work. And then after doing the transformational work, she then had the strength to speak up for herself, to get her needs met, and to go on to experience next level love. And If we can do it, you can do it. I'm truly, truly committed to supporting you in getting tools to expand your comfort zone so that you could trust yourself more, so that you don't make unwise choices like dating the same person over and over again with the same challenges. Been there, done that. Let's not do that anymore. Let's not abandon yourself anymore. I want you to feel relaxed inside and comfortable in your own skin and to know fully how awesome you are. So here's your next step. Before we do this next exercise, here's the next step for you. Because you've showed up for this event and because you're doing the exercises and you're at this point in this presentation, I want to give you a special bonus, which is my Love Breakthrough session. And it's a 30-minute session. It's valued at $250, but for the next week, you can have it as my gift to you. And I'm going to recommend you take me up on this special offer, because in this session, it's just you and me. And we can dive deeper into what kind of love you're really looking for, what is in your way specifically. And I'll give you a personal love recipe to get you moving closer to that next level of love, to what it is that you want, that love story. And it's totally free. And if after we talk, it's a fit for us to do more work, I'll let you know what that looks like if you want to know more about it. And if it's not a fit, if you walk away with just a great big breakthrough in love on how to stop self-sabotaging, and you got what you needed and you feel complete, no problem, whether you decide to work with me or not, it's totally okay. I'm just committed to getting you more support, and I'm committed to getting you that knowing that it's possible for you and to help you move forward. So if you got a lot out of our presentation so far, and some of you, obviously the ones that are here live, missed the first part, I invite you to go back. If you've had some new ahas and you've gotten some curiosities about this and you'd like to know more, there's more support for you, and I'd love to get you that. I want you to know that I'm here for you, and I'd like to be someone who continues to support you. I recommend you take me up on this gift. There's no obligation at all, and I'm committed to giving you a lot of value during our time together. This Love Breakthrough session is that, to give you a breakthrough and give you some next steps. And I really love to have this time so I can get to know you more and really to see specifically what's stopping you, what's holding you back. So I have a few spots left in the next week because I only open up a handful of spots each month. So for those of you that are live, you have an edge on the people that are watching the replay. There's about 20 people that have signed up for this event, so they'll be watching the replay. So I'm going to encourage you. You'll get an email with the link, and I'll encourage you to grab it, grab a spot. And actually, I'll just tell you the link right now, which is Meet Me, MEET, Meet Me .so/discovery session page. meetme.so/discovery session page, and you can grab a session with me. And so it's first come, first serve. And if you miss out on that and there's not a time for you, just reach out to me and I will put you on a waiting list so that you don't miss out, okay? And I'll get you in as soon as possible. So this is for you if you're really serious about not wasting any more time in your life. I mean, if you know, we're in our 50s and above, right? And time is ticking. And I know that you're here and you're wanting more love. So this is an opportunity to find out how to stop holding yourself back and feeling so alone. And this is an opportunity for you if you're ready to expand that comfort zone with new tools so you don't have to just see the years flying by and continue to feel stuck. So you'll get the link in the email, or just, you know, look it up after. It's 30 minutes. And if you can't find 30 minutes in your schedule to focus on your heart, that's a really good reason to do this, because I've helped people find 3 to 6, maybe even more hours in their schedule each week when they work with me, when we look at their calendar and streamline what's important, what's not. So if you can't find 30 minutes, that's a really good reason to sign up. So it's your time to take a stand for yourself and to call in Next Level Love. And I'm happy to support you, and I'd be honored to hold your hands and help you create this new life chapter on your terms, to help see what's possible for you, and to see what kind of healthy relationship you can have, and to change your behaviors. So I know that my life and my ability to express myself, true self-expression, is the most important thing to me. And I want that for you. So I'd be honored to hold your hands and offer you this gift. And I encourage you to grab a spot. So I think that's it for that. So I just wanted to spend some time there just to let you know that I'm here for you, and there's more. So now I want you to get ready for this last piece, which is a risk manager update. Okay? So let's, I'm finding, I think I missed a section. There was a section, before I do this, I just want to just kind of go back. There was another handout, and so you guys can do this. Wow, how did I miss this? I'm not sure why. It's called Supporting Risk-Taking. I'll put it in the email so that you guys have it, because it's brainstorming on ways you can have support, and then there's 5 ways to get more support. So I'm not sure why I missed that, but somehow I did, and here we are doing the visualization. So just real quickly before we do the visualization, the risk manager is the part of you that watches out for danger and supports you and gives you the behaviors that hold you back in the name of keeping you safe. And so I'm going to invite you guys, whether you're watching the replay or you're live, I'm going to actually take me off of the camera so that you really can't look at me, for a good reason, because I really want you to close your eyes. And if you're listening to me while you're driving, come back to this later, because this is a really powerful tool I'm about to give you. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes, take a breath, feel your feet firmly planted on the ground, and feel the energy of the earth coming up through the floor, through your feet. Just take a breath, a big deep breath, and let it out. Take another breath and let it out. And I want you to focus on something that you really, really want. Something in the love arena. Maybe it's somebody you want to call into your life. Maybe there's an experience inside of you that you want to birth. Something really important for yourself. Let it be something that you're really longing for. And let yourself feel this want growing inside of you. It doesn't even have to be about love. It could just be anything that you're longing for, something that you crave so much in your life. Let it be important. And imagine having this want fully in your life. This is something important to you. Really important. It might be why you're here doing this class. And this might be something you've been waiting for a long, long time. And there may be some good reasons why you haven't had it yet. And you know what it is. As you become aware of this want, imagine that you're embodying this part of you that wants this. And take a moment to notice where in your body this lives, this wanting place. And just be with the feeling in your body. You may want to find a posture or a position to embody this want. You may wish to exaggerate this position a little. Just allow some part of your body to shift in just some way to express the energy of this want. And now ask yourself, what might be at risk for you to have this in your life? What's risky if you go for this want? You might ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen if I went for what I want? What are you afraid might happen if you actually go for it? And take a moment to notice, how is this like your life? Have you experienced this risk at other times and in other places in your life? Maybe there have been times that you set your life up so that you didn't go for what you wanted, or didn't get what you wanted because you didn't want to face that risk. And now I invite you to imagine that there is a part of you that helped you avoid this risk in your life. A part of you that's been willing to sacrifice some of what you wanted, perhaps some of your dreams, so you wouldn't have to face the pain or the fear or the grief or the anger that you knew you'd feel if you went for what you wanted. I want you to imagine that there is a part of you, this part of you that's tried to protect you from these risks. And imagine that this part of you is standing right next to you. And I want to talk to this part for a moment. So when you're ready, I'm going to invite you to literally stand up and trade places with this part. Go right into that part and leave yourself in the chair. Imagine that you're still in the chair in this wanting place, and come into the body of this part that helps you avoid risk. Because I would like to talk to you. So hello, you are the part that helps her avoid risk. And you're the part that set it up so that she doesn't always go for what she wants, so she doesn't face those risks. You're the part that has the radar for those risks. And if you see something coming that you think might hurt her, you send signals, you send doubts, maybe you send feelings. Perhaps you send a message that she's too old. Maybe you send a message that love isn't in the cards for her. Maybe you send a message to be afraid or to be silent or even ill. You know how to alarm her when there's danger. Maybe she's been hurt in the past with relationships, and you are on guard to make sure she doesn't get hurt again with another relationship. You've been that part which helped her to avoid danger in the past, and you've protected her from harm. So I'd like to ask you to take a moment and consider what might have happened to her if you weren't there to protect her. What if you didn't stop her? I bet there were times when she couldn't have faced that risk one more time, and you stepped in and stopped her, even if it meant that she didn't go for what she wanted. And I think that was a good and wise decision, that over the years, you may have saved her a great deal of pain because she wasn't ready to face those risks one more time. So I'd like to honor you for the role you've played in her life, that you've been watching out for her. I honor you for the vital job you've been doing. And I know you'll always be there for her. And in a moment, I'm going to have you switch with her, but I'd like to talk to you for a moment about your job. Because your job is to protect her from pain. And what happens sometimes is, by holding her back, by locking up her heart, she's having pain in a different way. You're the risk manager and you're watching out for her, and that's so beautiful. However, I need you to see that some of the strategies are hurting her, and she's having pain anyway. She's doubting herself. She sometimes feels like she's not beautiful, that she's too old or too fat or not able to have a healthy relationship. You have her question herself, and that's hurting her. And that's keeping her alone and feeling lonely and scared, and among other things. So I want you to see that your strategies are actually causing her pain too, that there's a price. So risk manager, I'm going to invite you to see her for who she is now. that she is expanding her comfort zone with new tools, working with me as a coach in this program right now, in this masterclass, that she's accumulating new ways to stay safe, to expand her heart in a healthy way, that you don't have to work so hard. So I'm going to invite you, risk manager, to see this person for who she is now and to maybe find some new strategies so that she can open up her heart more, to receive more love, to receive more next level love, so that she can relax more and connect more deeply. Just see her for who she is. I'm going to invite you to just take a moment and see if there's a message you have for her. Anything you'd like to say to her. And imagine through the touch, through your words, send her a message. Just see if there's anything you want to tell her before you switch back. And now I'm going to invite you to go sit back in the chair and come back in this place and close your eyes again. And become aware of your risk manager, the part of you that was right there with you just now, the part of you that has been assessing risk and keeping you safe. And I'd like to suggest to you that this part truly loves you. And I'd like to invite you to stay connected to this part. And you could talk with your risk manager about the risks that you might be facing or any concerns or fears you might be feeling so that you don't have to take unwise risks. I honor your risk manager as the one who knows how to keep you safe. And your risk manager is not going anywhere. And I told the risk manager to see you for who you are now so it can start to update and give you some space to try new things. And I asked if it had a message for you. So take a moment and let that message come in. Breathe it in, hear it, breathe it into your body, and allow yourself to take in the wisdom of your risk manager. Breathe it in. And when you're ready, I'm going to invite you to just come back, present time. And for those of you that are here live, I'm just going to let you know that this is recording. And after we finish, I'm going to stop the recording and we can talk outside of this recording place if you want to have some privacy with me, so that you can have some connection and sharing if you'd like. So just to recap, during our time, we looked at some of your own personal perspective around risk-taking. How do you feel about risk-taking? Taking chances, not taking chances. We also explored why you avoid risk and what you could do better to support yourself. Well, that was the part that I kind of missed, the way to support yourself. And we looked at the possible rewards of stretching your comfort zone and to do things new and differently. You know, in fact, with the part that I missed, I mean, it doesn't take that long. I'm actually, might as well just go back there for a minute because, you know, we looked at risks, we looked at rewards, and we looked at how to do, you know, do support, right? So workshop number 4 was to brainstorm all the possible ways risk-taking can be supported. And that could be, you know, different people in your life that can support you. There's lots of different ways that you could feel support. Reaching out to others, reading books, being in programs like mine. There's lots of different ways to have more support inside so that you can take more chances. So there's 5 powerful perspectives on risk-taking that can help you move forward. And I'm just going to go back to my notes here. I don't know how I missed it, but I'm hoping I can find it pretty quickly. You know, I wonder if I accidentally deleted it. Gosh, where might it be? I may not have it. Let's see. You know, I'm not sure I have it. Wow. Welcome to live. Actually, wait a second. I think I have it. Hold on. Give me a second. You know what? I actually don't. So I'm gonna, I'll send it to you in email about there's 5 different perspectives on risk taking, and this is the part of support, and how to work that. And I don't want to just go off the top of my head, and I don't want to take up too much more of your time because we're at 90 minutes. But I'm going to try real quickly to just pull it up. So just give me 1 second, because I might be able to. Give me 1 second. I hope I'm not going to screw everything up, but just be patient with me for 1 moment. Let me see if I can find it. I think I can. Just give me a moment. Moment. Okay, I found what I'm looking for. And now I'm just going to scroll down. So start, while I'm doing this, think about ways that you can support yourself, right? What would help you take risks more easily, right? Okay, almost there. Scrolling. And I'm here. Okay. So to just kind of go back a little bit to the brainstorming of different ways to get support, allowing yourself to have mistakes. That will help in aiding you to take some more risks. Approaching risk as an opportunity to learn. Being prepared to ask for help. That can be really supportive. That can allow you to try new things because you know you're going to ask for help. To reward your successes. So when you do take a chance and things happen, give yourself a pat on the back. Have contingency plans. That's really good. Also, to take baby steps, to not just dive right in. In my Find Fabulous Love coaching program, we spend the first 2 couple of months tweezing out what's truly risky and what's not so risky. And we build that inner support so that you get more ease and more self-esteem. And the women find themselves taking bigger, bolder actions because they feel more support. So it's important to really see where your support is. And we spend a lot of time with that to get more inner support, inner love, and quiet down that risk manager by really looking at what's risky and what's not. Because it's really hard to invite in next level love when you're in lockdown. So, opening up to more support allows you to take more steps to opening up to love. So here's the 5 perspectives now on risk-taking that can help you move forward. And thank you for your patience again. So the first one is to take the plunge. To take an action toward love. An action, no matter how small, will always create a positive movement forward. You need to feel like you're moving forward. As Tony Robbins would say, if you're not growing, you're dying. So movement is key. So think about one thing that you can do, one action that can help you move forward. That's also in the Find Fabulous Love Immersion program. We start to take these actions and we start to build that an inner awareness that we're okay to do this, that the world isn't going to crumble, and we build that muscle. The second thing about support is to say yes to life. Life isn't about obligations and commitments and to-do lists. You know that. It's about being able to say no to the distractions and yes to the things that matter most to you. So think about what you want to say no to and what you want to say yes to. Another perspective on risk-taking is going out on a limb, because the view is way better out there, and you might just find some juicy fruit out there. And also the concept of swing for the fences, because if you win, you'll be happy. If you lose, you'll be wise. You'll know what works for you. You'll have learned a bunch, and you'll know what you want in the next relationship. Most people spend too much time wondering what's going to work, what's not going to work, and they justify why it's okay to not take any action. And again, that's your risk manager plotting and keeping you stuck. Another concept is rolling the dice. Never let the odds keep you from love. Never. We're on this planet for love. That's my belief anyway. And there's a lot going around, a lot of stuff happening, as we know. And the more we can get out of our own way and get things flowing, the more we can have love in our life. So think about your reaction to these perspectives and which perspective would inspire you most to take a chance and why. And so just be with that for a moment. So that's pretty much it for our time together today. We talked about risk. We talked about your risk manager. We talked about what next level of is and the opportunity to be able to have deep connection with another. And then I shared with you that it wasn't always easy for me. And once I started doing this transformational work, everything changed. The quality of my life, the quality of my love life, the quality of love toward myself. And that's why I do what I do, because I know something that I didn't know before, that next level love is possible. And it doesn't have to be so hard, and it doesn't have to be so exhausting, and you don't have to have habits that squash your essence. So a reminder that you are subject to your past experiences. The past has shaped you. That doesn't have to be the end of the story. You can shift, you can change, and change can feel scary. Comfort zone, expand your comfort zone so it doesn't have to feel so scary. And that courage, remember, courage is not the absence of fear. It's the ability to move in spite of fear because something matters to you. So if you want something different for yourself, you need to take some steps. And the next step that I hope you take is take me up on that offer of the Love Breakthrough session, because then we can really dive in. And that's really it. That's all I really have for you for today. I'm going to stop recording in a moment. And Cheryl and Yvonne, if you want to hang with me for a few minutes and we can have some private time, we can do that. For those of you watching the replay, I really invite you to do the exercises and then send me some emails, some questions, and grab a session with me if you're ready to expand your comfort zone and break through some of your fears so that you really can call in next level love. All right, my mouth is starting to not work well because I've been talking for an hour and a half. Okay, so I'm going to just say goodbye to you all with the recording. Mwah, much love to you. All right, so let me stop the recording.